The prompt will always be the same for every SAT essay that you take. The difference will come in the passage that they give you. But let's go ahead and read the instructions in the prompt this one time so we don't have to do it again. So as you read the passage below, consider how Paul Bogard uses evidence, such as facts or examples, to support claims, reasoning to develop ideas and to connect claims and evidence, stylistic or persuasive elements such as word choice or appeals to emotion to add power to the ideas expressed. So that's always the same, and we'll talk about all these things later in more detail. Here's the passage. It'll be about 800 or so words long, essentially the length of a reading passage that you would have done in section 1. So pretty standard, pretty readable generally. It's not going to be super complicated, and it will be reasonably interesting. I mean, interesting enough to write an essay about, I suppose. Then you're going to have this little box at the end, which is always the same, except for the fact that it's a different author, of course. So it says, write an essay, and this is the task, the prompt. Write an essay in which you explain how Paul Bogard builds an argument to persuade his audience that natural darkness should be preserved. In your essay, analyze how Paul Bogard uses one or more of the features listed in the box above, or features of your own choice, to strengthen the logic and persuasiveness of his argument. Be sure that your analysis focuses on the most relevant features of the passage. Your essay should not explain whether you agree with Bogard's claims, but rather explain how Bogard builds an argument to persuade his audience. So as I said, the instructions and prompt are always the same. The passage will be different every time. When you read this prompt, frankly, it's not super clear what exactly they're asking for. I mean, essentially, this is a rhetorical analysis essay, very similar to actually AP Lang and Comp has a very similar assignment to do in the AP test, but modified, of course, for a general audience. It's not immediately obvious what this means, and I think that ambiguity, if you're not ready for this essay, will be problematic, because it's not like they ask you, like on the old SAT essay, a specific question, like, what is the meaning of truth, or whatever, right? Or there's a specific question to respond to. Here it's more diffuse, right? You want to explain how he builds an argument to persuade his audience. You want to analyze features to strengthen the logic and persuasiveness of the argument. There's really no question here. It's more about analysis. And we're going to go into a lot of detail about exactly what you want to do to get that 444, and particularly that 4 in the analysis. So we'll talk more about that. But now that we've read the instructions in the prompt, we don't really have to. And what we're going to set out to do moving forward is translate this task into concrete steps and concrete ways to attack the question and to write a really good essay.